Welcome to the Shooting Shot Scorecast.
Yo.
What's up, guys?
What's up, everyone? This is Richard Chicago. I got on my right 30th George, and on the bottom is Manny Michigan hat, and I'm going back down where I belong. There you go. Wait.
Whoa.
There you go.
Musical chairs.
Musical chairs. All right.
We're moving around more than quarterbacks in the NFC.
Awesome. We have a lot to talk about today, so let's get right to the ad real quick. So the Scorecast is brought to you by PointsBet. PointsBet. It's America's fastest growing online bookmaker. So this is only available in Illinois, New Jersey, and Iowa. Soon rolling out to other places such as Colorado, Michigan, and Indiana. So stay tuned for that. So this is a full traditional sports book that offers you more markets and rewards than anyone else. So when you go to sign up, go to pointsbet.com, enter our promo code FIRSTRATE, and PointsBet will match you up to $250. If you deposit $50, they'll give you $150 to play with. If you put $150 in, you get to bet with $300. And here's the kicker: if you put $250 in, you get to bet with $500. So do it. Warned we're prohibited. Must be 21 and over. Gambling problem? Not me. Call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
You don't have to joke about an addiction, you know.
It's only addiction if you tell people it is. And I didn't tell anyone it is, so it's my little secret.
Someone over here clearly has an addiction because he's laughing. It's like it's like his release from it. Yeah. All right. Well, let me just say to everyone that we are. Oh yes.
I love you, Nagy.
Thank you, Matt Nagy, for coming back.
Welcome back.
We this week there is no NFL to talk about because the Pro Bowl is virtual, whatever that means. I don't know if that means a Madden game. I'm not really sure, but it's virtual. So, which honestly most people probably prefer anyway, because what's the freaking point of the Pro Bowl?
Yep.
So there's no football. All we have is our picks to kind of recap, give a little preview, maybe if anyone has an idea of games they're going to definitely be picking from this weekend. What's up, Jimbo? So we are going to start by just tackling some news topics, things that have been popping up lately. Then after that, we're going to go and we're going to recap our scores from last week and talk about what's been happening this week so far. And real quick, while I'm remembering this, we've changed the format. We were meeting on Mondays and Wednesdays. We decided, just based on the amount of lines available and when they're available, we're moving the show back to only Wednesday nights. So there will no longer be a Monday show, but on Wednesday we'll be covering a whole week of sports betting. And you can follow all our sports betting on at SYSS Scorecast on Twitter. We're tweeting at that every day, our picks. So you'll want to be sure you're following there so you can see what we recommend that you play along with us. All right.
Breaking news.
I find that hard to believe because he signed with the Steelers, I believe. So
sign and trade.
Sign and trade. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, you didn't hear that? Yeah, that's all. That's exactly what he's going to be doing.
And then one more question from the coach.
It's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard anything definitive like that, but I don't know that it's a lock that he's the second one off the board either.
I think his stock. This is actually a good first topic. Thank you, Coach Nagy. I think that is a lie.
False.
The lie detector says no. I think.
Everyone's jizzing.
Hey,
You're right,
Matt.
You're right. He's right though.
If you want to go ahead and sign off,
break your kneecaps.
We'll see you next week, Matt. Good to have you.
What were you saying? My bad.
I was just saying. I think Fields' draft stock dropped a lot before the playoff run because up until the playoff game against Clemson, he didn't play super great against Northwestern in the Big Ten championship. Their other notable opponent was Indiana, and he did look good at times, but he threw like 3 interceptions that game, and Indiana came back. So I think it dropped, but I feel like he regained it after beating Clemson handily in the playoff, and they were in it with Alabama for a little while. So that'd be kind of my thoughts there. And Wilson, it's hard to just say because he's BYU. They don't face the same kind of competition. Then again, the Big Ten wasn't good this year, so it's a kind of back and forth. I don't really know. All I know is that neither Wilson or Field stocks have gone up like GameStop.
No one's has.
Yeah, I know. So let's get into some news. This is as late as last night, as recently as last night. There was It's not quite breaking.
Not quite breaking.
This broke last night. But Bradley Beal has been. There's been kind of rumors that he's been frustrated with the Wizards, and last night there was like visible frustration from him. So the discussion is coming. The discussion coming about is should he demand a trade, and a lot of his frustration seemed to be coming kind of at the. It seems towards the direction of Russell Westbrook, and Westbrook's not really having a very good year. I saw a stat recently that was something like he has 160 points on 160 shot attempts. So he's that's not great. So that being said, should he demand a trade? And if so, who do you think Bradley Beal should go to, and who do you think he would go to?
I have a couple thoughts about this.
Okay.
So, well, I think he should go, but I saw some trade offers that were really interesting while researching about this. So I thought Denver was an interesting one. I was thinking Michael Porter Jr., Gary Harris, Bol, and a first-round 2021 draft pick for Bradley Beal. But that's like giving away a lot from Denver, but I don't know. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Michael Porter Jr. and Westbrook would probably team up really well, honestly. So another crazy one I saw was New Orleans. Lonzo Ball, JJ Redick, and a 2021 first-round draft pick, and a 2022 first-round pick swap. 2023 and 2024. Just everything from the next 4 years, basically. As a deal. What the fuck? Yeah, that's a lot. But yeah, that was interesting too.
Because I've heard that Riddick and Ball might be on the market.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Like, I don't follow the NBA super closely right now, but like, it's just crazy. Like, I know Beal is a good player, but it's just his market didn't. I didn't know how high it was going to be. Like, that just seems insanely high to me. But if that's the market right now, that's the market. But
I think it's a little tough to tell because Beal is not a top 5 superstar in the league.
I wouldn't say he's a superstar.
He's definitely a good piece. But I'm not sure. There's a lot of ties to the Bulls, and that's kind of why I asked this question as a Bulls fan, because Beal has been very vocal that he's a big supporter of Billy Donovan because he played for Billy Donovan at Florida. So,
that'd be interesting.
And he's from the Midwest, so it'd be cool to see him there.
You imagine with Levine, though. That's the thing. Like, he scores a lot of points. Like, he averages like 34.4 points a game.
You're probably going to have to move Levine in order to get Beal.
Yeah. You want to get both. So.
And that's, again, part of the thing you kind of have to evaluate with.
How old is Beal?
I think I saw he's 27. So you would probably be getting I would guess someone at 27 in the NBA would still have 4 or 5 really good years left. But the Bulls do need a ball handler.
Sorry.
You like handling balls, Richie?
Yes.
So Zach 25. Like, what's the thought on having to move him? Is it just because he's going to be too expensive, or like why?
It's probably just because in order, like, why should the Bulls move him, or why should they move him for Bradley Beal?
Like, I know you'd have to move him to get Beal, probably, but
Yeah.
like if you're the Bulls, why wouldn't you just stick with Levine over Beal?
Yeah, I'm not saying necessarily that I want Beal. I'm saying the story
No, I get you.
is interesting to me because the Bulls are a destination people have pointed to. As far as Levine goes, the reason you move on from him is because he is showing the absolute height of his powers right now. And as we've learned over the years with sports, especially like with baseball and the whole Moneyball approach, is you sell high when players are at their peak, unless you know that they're going to be able to sustain that success. And Levine has never really shown that ability, so that's the reason you trade him. I don't really know where I stand on it because I do like him, and the thing about Levine is that he's a known commodity. You know what you have with him at this point. If you trade him away, unless you're getting pieces you're confident in, yeah, I just don't know what to expect. And yeah, Wendell, he just needs a fresh start. Like, I really like him. I think he could be good, but facing another injury, he was starting to maybe put things together. Yeah, he needs just a fresh start with another team. I think that could do him some good. Some other NBA news. The Nets have been inquiring to the Cavs about JaVale McGee, Andre Drummond, and Kevin Love. Not all three of them probably, but like what are the prices for each of them individually? So my question for you guys is, like, first of all, what do you think about that? And second of all, what do you think that means about Kyrie Irving? Because his involvement has been so weird this season just because of him being absent for 2 weeks and all this stuff. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
The Nets are just such a weird team. Like, it reminds me a lot of, like, remember a while back when the Eagles were saying, like, what was it, like 3 or 4 years ago, they're going to be a super team. They piled up all these names, and then what happened is the chemistry just wasn't there and it didn't work. Like, the Nets feel like a team that's piling up names, or at least there's a lot of names tied to them, and I just don't see it. It's just, I don't think it's working. Like, I'm not saying they're not talented and they're not going to win games, but between the guys they have on the roster now and the players now they're talking about, it's just, I don't know what direction you're going for, but it doesn't seem like you're really building like a strong identity. Like, you're just throwing a bunch of names together. I don't know.
It sounds like a super duper team, which is okay, I guess, but like, I don't know.
Like in 2K, it'd be cool.
I feel like super teams work best in the NBA though, but at the same time, I feel like
they need chemistry at least.
To me, I just think the problem is Kyrie. Like Coach Nagy said,
can't stand Kyrie.
He's a drama queen. It's so stupid. Like, you ride the coattails of LeBron. You make a huge shot in the finals, of course, to win the championship. Yeah, and then instantly he thinks that he needs to be the guy. So then you send him to the Celtics, and he's good with the Celtics, but not enough to win anything. He goes to the Nets to join forces with Kevin Durant. It's like, do you want to be the guy or you want to be a guy? Because when you're with Durant, you're not the guy. And now Durant and Harden, guess what? You're the third. You're like the third guy now.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. I think Kyrie's the problem. I kind of wonder if, in looking into these other names of McGee and Drummond in Love, if the Nets are doing that almost as a way to prepare for life without Kyrie.
I've never liked Kyrie. Like, I'm biased, so I try not to be unfair. I just can't stand the guy. Like, off the court, he's just,
Uncle Drew.
He's just such a weirdo, man. Like, he's one of those guys where it's like, as talented as he is, I just don't know that he's ever, like, obviously his best, when he was at his best paired with LeBron, like, he was a good second guy, second option, a weapon. But like, I don't know if it's that he just hasn't found that fit again, or if he's trying to do too much, but it just seems like he's been more of a negative wherever he's gone ever since then, at least for for how much he costs you. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't touch Kyrie.
Oh,
If the Nets were looking to move him, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where he goes. But I would, if I'm the Nets, I would move him if possible. But let's move on to.
Yeah, I don't think it's the right fit either. So
yeah.
Sorry.
Let's move on to some NFL news, so that way Coach Nagy can offer his expertise. The Houston Texans have. Right,
Sorry.
exactly. The Texans have hired David Culley, who was assistant head coach and wide receivers coach of the Baltimore Ravens. And the notable thing here is that he is the first black head coach hired during this hiring cycle.
Yep.
So that's significant because there was a lot of talk about leading into this Texans hire. The Texans were like the last major player looking for a coach to fall, and there had yet to be a minority hire in terms of race or ethnicity. The one minority hire people were counting was Robert Saleh as the first Muslim American head coach. But in terms of racial diversity, there was no improvement really there. So that is notable. However, I know nothing about this guy. And to be honest, the wide receivers of the Ravens have never done much for me anyway. Hollywood Brown, like he's good sometimes.
He's the only one I could name. Honestly.
Yeah. So it's like,
yeah.
I don't really know my opinion on how successful he is there. But to me, the story that this is more about is why does nobody want Eric Bieniemy?
It's so bizarre. Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
He's the enemy. I don't know.
It's just weird to me. Like, okay, like you said, if Coley hadn't been a minority, specifically an African American candidate, this would be a really bad look.
First albino hire. Could be.
It still is a bad look, but now because the guy who was hired instead of him, yeah. Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, super
tanking coach, yeah. Like somebody just to be the bridge. Like, I don't know. Maybe. So because you hire another African American guy and not Bieniemy, now I wonder, like, maybe, which I had mentioned, I think on Frustration Nation a while ago, like maybe Bieniemy just really is bad in interviews. Like there's got to be something going on here that either like he's expressed interest, so it's not that he's just declining all these offers. I don't get it, but like trying to give the benefit of the doubt and not be like a conspiracy theorist, maybe just as a person, he just is failing badly in his interviews somehow. I don't know.
Although I've heard reports that that's not the case.
Then I have no clue.
And it's wild. My thought was that Doug Peterson and somebody who's in our comments who shall not be named have ruined maybe the stock of Andy Reid disciples a little bit. People were, kind of tossing that around. I'm not really sure.
I mean, I'd take a shot on one more guy. His resume is better than almost every coach that was hired in the offseason.
I think it's interesting what Coach is bringing up here. He said Bieniemy maybe. Before that, he was saying maybe Bieniemy doesn't want to go there.
Yeah.
And that would be interesting too, especially if there is all this drama with Deshaun Watson. Like, you might be like Coach Nagy said, you may be losing your quarterback, and now David Culley could be a tank hire, where it's like, well, like, and you'd be probably wasting Bieniemy's time. And if he knows you're going to tank and get rid of Watson, why would he want, unless you traded Watson to Jacksonville or the Jets or the Dolphins and were able to get one of the top quarterbacks this year, that's the only way I could possibly see that working out. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I feel bad for Eric Bieniemy because my understanding is he is a really good coach, and if you know anything about the offense and you watch the Chiefs, I know a lot of that is heavy lifting done by Patrick Mahomes, but I mean, come on. Some of that is
Yeah.
scheming.
The
So,
other thought I have is like maybe, like I believe Andy Reid calls the plays, right, for Kansas City. Like maybe there's this fear out here that Bieniemy doesn't actually do that much.
so again, that was the whole thing about Matt Nagy and Doug
Yeah.
Peterson, was that they are the offensive coordinator, but they, much like the Bears, like Bill Lazor wasn't calling plays until Matt Nagy was in dire straits.
Yeah.
So Andy Reid was never really in dire straits, but a lot of times he knows that his coaches are going to get job opportunities, and so usually the last few games of the season or whatever, he'll be like, "Here, you call the plays," and
I'll
so
give you one drive, right?
yeah. So no, that's like literally something that he has done
Yeah.
in the past, and so there might be a fear there. I'm not really sure.
I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll get a shot at some point, I would imagine. Like next year, there's going to be probably 4 or 5 more teams looking. Like this year, it was a lot more than normal, it felt like. But there will be more openings. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd imagine he gets a shot, but it is something that's come up a lot, and it is just kind of bizarre at this point.
Yeah, I'm honestly shocked. Like everyone was talking about him as like the guy.
Yeah.
So I'm very surprised by that. But
Hmm.
real quick, Matt Nagy, while we have you here, we're gonna move on to our next topic, but feel free at any point to put in the comments. I want to hear about your thoughts about our new defensive coordinator, Sean Desai. So go ahead and chime in there. I say our as in the Bears. So our next topic here, switching over to baseball. This is really interesting to me.
Yeah, he's a coaching forest at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
You got one more?
Could be. Yeah, I know. I feel like he could
Yeah.
be, but I don't know. You're the coach. Do you have any more insight than that? Like, I feel like maybe he could. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect from him. I feel like he could be good, but he could also flop. But our next topic is very interesting news from baseball. The Hall of Fame has elected no inductees this year. They require 75% of but Coach Nagy, a lot of players like you
Bless you.
too, and that leads to 2 8-8 seasons back to back. So, no offense, but
you suck.
But yeah, so no inductees. They need to be at least 75% voted to get inducted, and the highest was, this is interesting, the highest was Bonds actually.
Wow.
At 71%. Or no, I'm sorry, the highest was Kurt Schilling at 71%. My fault.
Yeah.
But so what's interesting about this, the other piece of news with this is not so much that there wasn't anybody inducted, but also I hope Eddie Jackson can bounce back. If Sean Desai can do that, then he earns every cent. The biggest news with this is that Kurt Schilling has been asked to be removed from the ballot. He has 1 more year of eligibility next year. And then Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds also only have 1 year left of eligibility. And here's the thing about Kurt Schilling. First of all, a lot of the drama behind him and not getting drafted is because of controversial things he said in the political realm.
Mm-hmm.
And then Clemens and Bonds, their controversy, obviously, is due to steroids. So I want to hear from you guys. Like, what is your thought about Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens? Like, do you think they should be in the Hall somewhere? Like, I'll throw Pete Rose in there too. Where should he lie? Kurt Schilling, like, what do you think about him being, like, asking to be removed from the ballot?
Go ahead, Richie.
You can go ahead. I'm actually sharing stuff right now. Sorry.
No, you're good. So, yeah, I've given my thoughts before a couple times on Hall of Fame baseball. Like, all right, I have a huge problem with the Hall of Fame right now, and it's like the opposite with football. Football, it seems like it's way too easy to get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it is easy.
Like, people are talking about Phillip Rivers being a surefire Hall of Famer, and it's no disrespect to him. Like, as a Lions fan and a Matthew Stafford fan, like, I have a lot of respect for that kind of quarterback. Someone who stays somewhere most of his career, doesn't have success, but like player with a lot of heart and guts. Like, I like Rivers, but there's no way he should be a Hall of Famer. Like, yeah, maybe my standards for the Hall of Fame are higher than the Hall itself, but I just don't think that
should be part of the point.
I don't think that that's a real representation of like a Hall of Fame level athlete.
Yeah.
But then in baseball, you have the best hitter to ever play the game, and obviously the steroid allegations. But in baseball, you have guys not in the Hall who should be. It's the opposite problem there. Yes, he should be.
Go ahead.
Yes, Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame, and he should be right in the middle of the Hall of Fame. You should have a statue right by the directory. Like, he should be the main attraction in the Hall of Fame. It's not a question in my mind. So the fact that there wasn't anybody inducted this year, just the way that awards work, where writers are the ones who vote on all these awards, and it's just like, I'm just not a fan of. I know it's not a huge deal. Like, it's kind of it's just an award, right? But as a fan, I would like to be able to say that the Hall of Fame actually was a fair representation of who should be there and who shouldn't be there, and it just doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, I feel like the steroids topic has been. It's so. The steroids topic is frustrating because it's like. I understand maybe there's some players that wouldn't belong if they hadn't taken steroids. Like maybe someone like Sammy Sosa doesn't hit over 600 home runs. Maybe he does seem to be more like someone who wouldn't be like on the cusp of Hall of Fame, but not quite there.
Right.
But Bonds is like many people have said Bonds is the best baseball player they've ever seen. And Roger Clemens, one of the best pitchers. Like it's very frustrating. Just to plug Shane's and my show, if you want to hear more about our thoughts on steroids, you should check out our show. I think it's called Roids. It's an earlier episode, but we covered we talk about the Lance Armstrong. We talk about the Lance Armstrong documentary that came out, and we talk about steroids and HGH and performance enhancing drugs, things like that. But so I think Clemens and Bonds need to be in. I like how you said the main attraction. I think Pete Rose should be in. I don't think any of these players have committed anything that is so much a travesty to the sport of baseball that they don't belong to be in. And here's the fact of the matter. You probably already have so many pieces of these players in the Hall. Like, I'm sure you have the ball of Pete Rose's, 4,000th hit or whatever. I'm sure you have the ball of Barry Bonds' 700th home run. Like, I'm sure you have all of this stuff of them. Why can they not get a freaking plaque on the wall?
Yeah.
Like, if you really don't want them, if you want baseball to forget about them, you would not have anything in there of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of hypocrisy. And also, people talk all the time about how there should be, like, turnover in Congress. Like, there should be term limits and things. Well, maybe in Hall of Fame for baseball, since this is clearly a more important topic.
That's funny.
It's funny because Coach Nagy, this is funny because I know Man Michigan Hat has made fun of him before too. I'm lukewarm on him. Sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't. Anyway,
kind of like him with Mitch Trubisky.
But I feel like they need to turn over change out these writers and who's voting, because a lot of this feels like old white guy voting.
Yeah.
For baseball, that's what I mean. So. And our last baseball note, there's not really any funny way to talk about this, but like the best hitter, and if you have problems with steroids, the home run king, Hank Aaron, passed away earlier this weekend, like last weekend. Just a big loss in the world of sports right before the 1-year anniversary of Kobe Bryant. So a big week in terms of sports personalities that we've lost. So,
Lots of players.
All right. Just to keep moving here, we need to go and recap a little bit from last week on the Scorecast and then fill you in what's going on so far this week. So last week, let's start with the NFL championship weekend. How did everyone do?
I don't know. How do we do?
What does that mean?
I'm the best to ever do it. I'll just say it. I mean, with all due humility, I'm the greatest gambler to ever live. I mean, it's like the GOAT debate. After this weekend, there was another GOAT debate settled, and it's the greatest better of all time. So, yeah, I don't want to overreact, but I am the best to ever do it.
Nice. Congratulations.
Cool.
Thank you.
I don't have any cookies to give you, so I ate them all.
I will be in the Hall of Fame for baseball bettors, I'm being told. So
maybe.
Yeah.
The Hall of Fame. You're a fraud. Hall of Frauds. Hall of Frauds. I don't know where fame came from. Hall of Frauds.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it was a good weekend. We all had Tampa. Good for us. I hope we draft Trey Lance. That'd be awesome. I'd rather have him than Justin Fields, but that's just me. Yeah, we all were right on the Bucks. We were all right on the over. I don't know what that means, but sounds right.
Means that you suck at everything else, but
yeah.
I'm good at like following other teams because I'm so used to doing it.
You're right.
So we all had the Bucks. We all had the over. We all hit our PointsBet props, which mine was Tampa Bay over 25 points. Kyle, you had first touchdown time under 10 minutes. Richie, you had Devontae Adams over 8 receptions. So we all went 3-0 in the first game, which was awesome because the Packers lost.
The under 10 minutes for first touchdown, like, to me, it was a no-brainer. Like, obvious. Like, either Brady's going to come out and try to put a stake in this game, or Rodgers is going to come out and be like, look at me. And they're going to score a touchdown on the first drive, and that's exactly what happened.
Really, the only way that doesn't hit is if you have, like, a field goal drive and then a turnover or something. Like, it seemed...
Or a 3-and-out, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like a good bet. So, Buffalo, Kansas City,
this
Kyle
game
and
was harder.
Yeah, Kyle and I, we were right on Chiefs. Richie, you missed the Bills, which unfortunately was your lock.
Was our lock.
Yeah, so that's a rough swing. Over under, we all went the under, and this game hit the over.
Which is stupid because you think going into this game we would have picked the over because of these teams, but the way they had played the week before,
we all outsmarted ourselves a little bit, I think. Yeah. And it was kind of garbage time points to hit the over, but still, like, you got to factor that in. It's easy to look back and say, like, we should have known, but really, like, if it's kind of a blowout, no matter which team's winning, the other quarterback's good enough to make some big drives. So, I mean, we kind of should have known. But, yeah, we all got that wrong. And the PointsBet prop, Richie had total touchdowns under 6.5. Missed that. Kyle, you had Bills over 13 first half points, which that seemed like a really good bet.
I was really pumped about it.
Especially they have 12, I think.
The Bills went up 9-0.
Yeah.
Like really early. And I was like, yes, I only need one more touchdown or 2 more field goals.
They settled for field goals way too many times. And then because they did that, that also hurt Richie on his total touchdowns. Like if a couple of those field goals turn into touchdown drives, it changes the game, obviously, but it also helps both of your props.
Why would that help? Richie's was under.
Oh, you had under. You're right. But
the garbage time Bills touchdown is what put him. He was at 6, and then the last touchdown scored by the Bills put it at 7.
I got you. My bad. I thought it was over, which wouldn't have made sense if you bet the under. But yeah. And then mine, I barely got my prop. I had Josh Allen under 302 pass yards, and he had 298 with like 7 minutes left. And thankfully he got sacked, and then the Chiefs got the ball and had a really long drive and all that stuff. So I barely got my prop.
And then we had our Thrive Fantasy player props.
Yep.
So Richie was putting all his eggs in the Devontae Adams basket. He got the earlier one with over 8 receptions, but then this one he picked over 89.5 total receiving yards. And I would argue this is probably a big reason why the Bucs won this game. Devontae Adams had 67 or something receiving yards on 8 catches. Like, that's not a very good return on those.
And he was targeted 3 times in a row in the red zone and didn't catch a single one. So
yeah.
Yeah, they limited him well.
I had Stephon Diggs over 4.5 receptions. This was not a good value pick on Thrive Fantasy, but I just wanted a guarantee. So I went ahead and picked this one. He actually only cleared it by 1, but I was still pumped about that one. Yep. And then you had Michigan had Leonard Fournette over 42.5 rush yards, which I was not sure on, but he hit it. So
well, that number changed after I bet it. Like within that same day, the number went up to over 50, I think, which was closer to what he actually got. But I got the number early enough that I liked it. So, yeah, the Bills. Yeah, I really like
the Bills.
Yeah, so. I like the Bills. Like they're a flashy team. They're still pretty young in a lot of ways, like a lot of positions, a lot of ways. Like I think they'll be a contender for a while. I think a lot of it is they did get that hype from being like the bad team that went to being a good team quickly. Like the bandwagon was pretty big. So yeah, I mean, they still
the wagon.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, making the AFC Championship, they still had a good season, but they fell short of the hype. So good week for NFL.
So here's the big news, everyone. So here we go. Here are our total scores from the entire season. And again, we started this season kind of mid-season from when we started
like
this
week
show.
8. Yeah.
But here's our scores going into what will be our final football show. So, Richie, let's start it this way. I'm currently in third place at 67 and 77. I'm 10 games under 500. I have a lot of work to do to catch first place, but I'll talk about that in a second. Richie is the runner-up currently at 71 and 66. He is floating above 500, but he is quite a bit of ways behind the man in the Michigan hat, who has a comfortable lead at 81 and 62. So he is a full 10 games in the win column ahead of Richie. I don't know what win percentages looks like because we had some pushes in places that would have changed our records. But he is 14 games ahead of me in the win column. So here's how you might be thinking, well, there's only one game left. How in the world are we going to make this competitive between all of you? And the answer is the reason we're calling our show, which will happen in next week, right? Next week's show? Yeah. Next week's show.
He might bet him not getting, but yeah.
Yeah, he is good. Yeah. That's why we have him on the show. But
we're never wrong.
Yeah. But the reason we've been talking about the Super Bowl Shoot Your Shot Scorecast Spectacular show is because we are not just picking against the spread and the over/under and maybe a prop bet. The rules for next week is that there are no rules. Yeah, there are no rules. That you can pick whatever, however much you want. And the idea here is I'll give proper credit to Richie. His idea was kind of making it like a Final Jeopardy. And in the show Jeopardy, you can bet however much money you want on that final question. And so kind of here, the risk you take is if you play like a ton of different props and whatever, you could end up like Shane, you could end up losing your lead. It all depends on how things shake out, right?
Yep.
So that's part of the strategy, right? Like, are you selective and do you choose a few that you know will hit, or do you take risks and pick a bunch of them and hope more hit than not? So that is what you get to look forward to next week. Next week will be hella fun. The Super Bowl, the Super Bowl Shoot Your Shot Scorecast Spectacular show with no rules,
no holds barred.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful slicing. So in the chat, we need you to make another like off the cuff like thing again.
Question: are we allowed next week to lock as much as we want?
Oh my God, that'd be awesome.
Every pick. Huh.
Well, then if you lose a lock, you just keep going down. I mean,
I know. That's it's a risk, right?
You should be able to lock everything, I think.
I think you should have like one lock.
Just go double or nothing on every pick.
I think it should be one lock where you could bet the amount of how many wins you have. So let's say you have like 81 wins, but one lock could be worth 81 wins.
Holy crap.
What? That's
You can
the
lose it all.
Or
You don't have
81
to.
losses. Oh man. I don't know. I think, or maybe
That'd
you
be
could
insane.
lock it.
Because that means you don't have to do like all the prop bets. You just have one lock, one prop bet. It's not bad.
Huh. Well, we will figure this out.
It's a different strategy. Yeah, I mean, you
Viewers.
can have a shit ton of bets or one bet, one lock to keep you in the lead for good.
I mean, I get we're supposed
On
to
the
be
coin flip, baby.
like,
On the
yeah,
coin
you could
flip.
literally go coin flip 70-point lock, and then that would decide the entire show.
That'd be hilarious.
Yes, it was heads. I win. Yeah.
We'll figure it
there
out.
you go.
I like the idea of being able to do as many locks as you want, but I feel like it should have to be spread out, like 2-point locks over whatever, or
Yeah.
maybe we do a super lock that's worth 5. I don't know.
Super lock. That'd be
I
awesome.
like my master lock.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Master Lock.
All right, we'll let you know, listeners.
We'll let you, yeah.
Yeah, we'll let you know, and you'll find out next week when you tune in at 9:00 Central Time for the Super Bowl Shoot Your Shot Scorecast Spectacular Show. With that, let's move on to our other picks from last week. So that's NBA, college basketball, NHL. I had a good week. I did
I
pretty
do
well.
not. I am not with them. I'm just.
I have a pretty good average so far. In our first week doing this, I went 14-8, and this week I went 13-8. So I'm
12-8. Then 11.
What am I?
You were
you were 18-4, and then you went 8-13.
you were off to a great start, which
Oh, it was an amazing start. Yeah.
the good thing is like that allows you some room for error because this is going to be a really long season. Like
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
we're gonna be doing this for a long time, so having those good runs gives you room for. We're all going to go through some slumps. So yeah, I saw that. Big players.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Gardner Minshew,
I would love
right.
him.
Me,
be
people
great.
sign
He's
Tyrod
electric.
Taylor.
Tyrod popped balloon Taylor.
Yeah, I don't.
Revenge game against fucking Herbert or Bay.
Yeah,
If you ever play them, I don't think we'll play them, but
To
Jameis.
me, I
Famous.
really wouldn't. Here's my thing. I really wouldn't be super upset about Minshew, but the thing I hate is that Minshew and Foles would be our duo, which was literally the Jaguars.
Coming the Jack.
Duval. So anyway, 14-8. I had a really good stretch on one day. I went 4-0. That was helpful. I hit my lock. I just had a pretty good week. So that was me. Richie, yeah, you had a really rough week. There's a lot of red on your and man, Michigan, how did you end up doing? You were
12-9. So I mean,
12-9.
yeah,
That's not bad. You were 12-10 the week before.
Yeah.
So
I'm hovering.
everyone,
We're moving up like one. Yeah,
you and I are like hitting our average basically.
because now my total score is 32 and 31. So I'm just like right at 500. So I just need to have weeks where I win at least a couple more than I lose, just to start raising that percentage. So, yep.
Cool. Well, right now the record set. You said you were 12-9.
Yeah.
So the record's currently set at 26-17 for Richie, 27-16 for myself. So I actually leapfrogged Richie this week just by one game in the standings. And then, man, Michigan Hat, you are at 24-19.
Oh no, wait. Are you looking here? So the totals I've got, like on our sheet for today, current totals after yesterday. So like including the ones from Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this should be right. I've got Richie at 37 and 26 total.
Holy crap! Why is it so different than what I have?
This includes all of last week's and the 5 we made for Monday.
But it's still way more than. Go ahead, finish your.
Are you doing your math right? Teacher,
I'm an English teacher, so I don't freaking know.
You're a teacher. It's nonetheless.
What I've got, Yes, you and Richie are both tied at 37 and 26, and
we're pushing.
I'm at 30,
Lines.
32 and 31, so like right at 500. So we'll double check that after the show and make
Just
sure.
the tie kings.
Yeah.
And that's as of even the games from yesterday.
This is after yesterday's games, not including anything from today. Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. Well, we'll double check our math and we'll clarify that as well on Twitter at SYSS Scorecast. Too many S's. But let's get into our picks from this week. So yesterday did not go well for anybody in our Scorecast. So what did you guys have going on yesterday? What did you think about your picks?
Yeah, so I went 2 and 3. I did not feel great about any of these picks. Like, I didn't like the slate. The way our week works out, like, we try to pick 5 games for Tuesday that we're all playing the same amount on Tuesday, you know. With our new schedule, we'll have to figure out if we keep doing that or how we do it. But I did not like the options I had. I had a couple college basketball scores. I split on those. I had a couple NBA scores. I split on those. And then I had Red Wings Dallas over 5.5, and I didn't get that. So I went 2 and 5, or sorry, 2 out of 5. I went 2 and 3, kind of trying to mix my sports, and I don't know, didn't feel great about any of them. Came in a little below 500, just one of those days. Like, I kind of knew what I was getting into. I just would have liked to go 3 and 2 was my hope, and yeah, not great. What about you guys?
Well, I was trying to go on theme with all the snow that we were getting out here in the Midwest, and I was going with all hockey. So that was a bad decision because I only hit 1 out of my 5 games yesterday.
Yep.
And that was the Blues at the Golden Knights. I hit the over 5.5. Nice. We should get Rashad Coward on the show.
Yeah. We'll check him out on Twitch.
Rage Cam 69.
Nice.
Classic.
That sounds like a fucking
That's his jersey number, but still.
That's cool.
But I always thought David Bakhtiari was probably somebody who thought it was hilarious that he wears number 69 in the NFL.
Yes.
Fun fact: I wear 69 when I play NBA 2K and on Madden, and my name is Dick Long. So
I bet it is. Yeah.
Nice.
It's great.
Numbers 420.
But fun fact too. In 2K, they had to ban my name. They said it was inappropriate. I'm like, since when? I'm like, damn, it sucks.
Could be a real name.
Put Dickie Long instead of Dick Long.
Rich Long.
I've seen a name before that was Barry Mediciner. I thought that one was good. Yeah.
That is funny.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one. That's good.
Like Barry, like Barack Obama.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of success betting the Golden Knights, and I did hit the over, but I bet the Golden Knights to cover 1.5, and they lost, so that didn't work out. To cover 1.5, they were favored. And then I had the over for the Hawks game because they gave up a lot of goals. They went under. Penguins Bruins, I thought would score more than they did. They did not. They went under 5.5. And the Oilers and Jets were not. The Oilers are good, but the Jets I don't think are that good. So I went with the under 6.5, and they scored 10 goals altogether. So I was not anywhere close on many of those. So, Richie, what about your picks from yesterday?
So I'm mostly in college basketball. My last pick, I was kind of late on, so I just picked an any old game. I'm like, oh, the Knicks Jazz, they might go over, but they didn't. It was like 202, and the over was 212, so that kind of sucked. I got blown out for Temple and I think Tulsa. I forgot what it was, but I got a tip earlier in the day, and then it flip flop. It was supposed to be Temple, and then Temple scored a shit ton, and that fucked me up. So not too good. So today I only have one pick, one lock. It's not a lock. It's just I'm using the PointsBet feature. So like we'll see what happens. I'm the under 135. So it's 50 times like whatever. Like if it goes under a certain amount of points, I get 50 times that whatever. So we'll see what happens.
Nice.
scared.
So how's everyone doing? So your game, Richie, right now is live, right?
Yeah, I'm just fact checking right now.
It's 5-3 right now.
Yes, keep it like that.
They've played for 5 minutes. Yeah, you're off to a good start.
Yeah. Oh my God. No one scored a single basket.
That's funny. So I went 3-3. I just checked my scores for the picks I had today because I had a lot today.
You went crazy.
Continue to be thoroughly mediocre.
Hey, that's like the Bears slogan. Isn't that right, Coach?
Thoroughly mediocre.
Yeah,
man.
And I went 3-1 today. So I felt good about that. I learned from my mistakes with Blackhawks Preds. And I didn't go the under though. I felt good about the Hawks playing it close because what I learned yesterday was that the Predators are not good at scoring. Is what I learned.
It's pretty important.
I found out that they had
Yeah.
I found out the Predators have had struggles scoring a lot recently. So I was like, all right, well, I bet the Hawks will at least cover, maybe even win. And the Hawks were the underdog 1.5. So I took the Hawks. They covered. I took Wisconsin and Maryland, the over 128.5. I felt good about that one. But
know. Yeah.
You had that too.
Yeah.
What they scored 100
score?
It was like 65-58 kind of game. So not close.
I mean, like by 10, 15 points, we missed it, right?
Yeah, which for college basketball is a pretty big margin.
Yeah.
I mean, it was tough. I also bet the other side. I bet Wisconsin -3, so that helped with that loss. I did also play Blackhawks Predators. I played the under 6, which hit too.
Yeah, easily 3 goals scored there.
So that's the one where I wish I would have doubled up on that game because if I was going to play the spread, I would have went Chicago too. So just missing on games.
And then you and I both had Pistons Cavs.
That one was weird. Cavs were only favored by 3 points. That seemed like I almost locked that, but that just seemed like an easy, obvious win. And the Cavs won by more than 10, I think. So.
And then I bet Mavs at Jazz, and I bet the Jazz favored by 3.5. And here's just a tip to everybody out there, including you guys on here, even though you're my competitors. My tip is that I saw a stat earlier today that in the Jazz's what was it? I want to make sure I say it right. I wish I would have retweeted it.
Great stat.
Thank you. Okay, I can't remember the stat, but basically it was saying that I think it was in 8 of the 9 Jazz. Wow, I can't speak. In the Jazz's 9 last games, 8 of them were against tough competition, and they won every single one of the 8 of those 9.
So basically, they got grit.
The point is they're good.
They've been playing really well.
Yeah. And so when I saw they were only favored by 3.5 against the Mavs, who the Bulls had beat twice, I was like, I feel really good about this one. So basically what I'm telling everybody, my advice is to bet the Jazz. That's
Put
my
your
advice.
Money on the Mormons.
That's right.
That should be a t-shirt.
Those are words to live
Money
by.
on the Mormons.
Yeah. Boring. Yeah.
Money on the Mormons, and you can put Zach Wilson on it, being from BYU.
True.
You put soaking, the wet emoji.
Yes.
Because that's what they do.
Yeah.
Over soak.
So to finish up our show before we close out, do you guys have any games that you're looking forward to later this week that you're thinking you might play? I mean, I know we don't have the lines out, but just based on matchups, is there anything you might be looking forward to?
When's the next Michigan game?
No, there's not any Michigan game.
Yeah.
That's why I'm struggling so much because I can't just lock Michigan. Locking Michigan just bailed me out. It made me look better than I was.
You can't lock Michigan anymore. What the fuck are you doing?
I'll lock Michigan. That'll balance out 2 of my losses. I'll be cool. But now I can do that. So it sucks. They won't play because today they played Penn State, who's one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. They would have beat them by 30. I would have locked that. I'd have 2 bonus wins.
Did they face Ohio State? Penn
Not
State
yet.
there?
No. I think they were scheduled to play them during this 2-week stretch. We're going to miss the Michigan State game, I know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Looking at hockey, I might try my luck again with the Knights and the Blues with betting the over.
You hit that last time, right?
I did. That was the one I hit on yesterday.
I'm thinking about following Nashville around and betting the under in like several of their games.
Yeah, now that I've laid that on you, yeah.
Because I bet them on the under today, kind of noticing the same trend a little bit. I might kind of, whenever I find something like that, I'm like, I'm gonna kind of stick with that till I'm wrong.
Yep.
A couple times.
That's how I've been with the Jazz. I bet the Jazz a lot lately, and with the Golden Knights, I bet the Golden Knights overs quite a bit.
And sometimes the Jazz won't cover, but you just kind of ride it out a little bit. And over the course of like 6 times betting them, if you go 4-2, that's a good stretch, you know. So yeah, I might try that.
Wisconsin at Penn State.
Well, yeah, when's that one coming up?
On Saturday.
Okay.
I don't know the line for it yet, but that sounds interesting. I thought it's gonna be a lot, but
I bet the line's probably gonna be like 9.
Yeah.
I
I'll
feel
take
like
Wisconsin though.
I like Wisconsin too, though. Yeah.
I feel like if I were to lock hockey, I feel like I should get an additional point for because the hockey ones are so hard.
I would never lock a hockey game.
They're very coin flippy. Like,
with the empty netter, how that swings the spread. I never feel great betting. Like betting over unders for hockey, I like a lot better than against the spread usually.
Even over unders feel very coin flippy to me.
They do too, because same thing with the empty netter. You know, you could be right at 5 goals and then hit an empty netter. So,
you think Gonzaga? Yeah. Sorry, real quick. Do you think Gonzaga's going to go undefeated this year?
Who?
Gonzaga.
Probably. They don't have anybody on their schedule. Yeah. I don't think they play a ranked game all year.
It would be so awesome if I could just like find that one game and bet it, like bet the money line. That would be great.
Yeah.
Like the next year, they're facing Pepperdine. I'm like, damn it, that's not even like 27 points. I feel like.
It's funny because I had never even heard of Pepperdine or Pepperdine or whatever before this year, but I feel like I constantly see them on our bets. Like I bet them today, the BYU Pepperdine game. I was like, I knew nothing about them 2 months ago, and now I feel like I'm like following them. I'm a fan. Yeah.
Here's a game to watch for tomorrow, mainly to watch for the line, but it's Lakers Pistons. So how big will that line be against the spread for the Lakers? Because obviously we know they're going to be the favorite.
Probably like 7.
You think only?
I don't know. It feels like NBA lines don't stretch that far.
I don't know.
Like it probably should be more, but I can't remember.
I'll tell you this right now. If it is 7 or less, I am locking the Lakers.
I would take the Lakers.
They had a frustrating loss today against the Sixers, and you better believe they're going to want to bounce back, and the Pistons aren't good. So
I like looking for those spots too, like Josh McCown.
I forgot about that.
Because he's the GOAT. That's why.
He's a McClown. He's a McClown, dude.
Josh McClown. I like that.
That'd be a great shirt.
Cade McNown. There's Bears legend, Cade McNown.
Yeah. I don't know. It will be interesting to watch.
Is Ronald McDonald a McClown? He is like the OG McClown.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Hawks Wizards, the over on Friday.
Oh, we're back to picks.
Is that already out, that one?
No, it's Friday, but I just like the sound of the over for that.
Hawks Wizards. Especially if Beal's still trying to like
Beal and like Trae Young.
Here's another little trend I've been noticing. The Knicks never hit the over. Never. It doesn't matter how low that number looks. The Knicks never hit the over. Whoever they're playing.
I bet that the other day.
Because of that, yours is
one of those too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Richie, the one you bet, that in combination with like other ones I've been paying attention to, I'm just like, man, like even if it's like 210, which is like low for NBA. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
The McCown era.
Honestly, one of the best quarterbacks we've had in the past decade.
Ever.
Yeah.
We'll lock it up on Friday. Cavs Knicks.
I might.
Cavs don't score a lot either.
Exactly. So
Well,
I don't know
that-
what it'll
Like
be.
200.
Over under 110.
Honestly, even if it was 200, I would be tempted to take
Wow.
under. Like
That's-
200 like usually like the
Haven't they been in the
on the
80s?
fans? That's like the
Like-
medium. Like
Yeah,
the
aren't
average.
They're in the 80s like multiple times, aren't they? I
the Knicks.
feel like the Knicks are scoring like 86, 87
Yeah,
all the
they are. That's why I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
They're slow
So-
pace probably. So,
And
yeah.
it makes sense. Thibodeau
Knicks.
is the
Yeah.
It makes sense because Thibodeau is a defensive-minded coach, so he's going to want to play things to a lower score. And I
Obi.
forgot he was over there, but
Yeah.
Yeah. They want D Rose, I heard. Or maybe that was a rumor. I'm not sure.
Please
Yeah.
take him.
He wants to
Take
be
Blake-
the Bulls for
Take Blake
2015.
Griffin too, honestly. I'd trade Blake Griffin for a rack that holds the balls in practice.
you want to know something? The Knicks fans are
Oh wow.
holy
Yeah,
crap.
that game they went off, but
Well, yeah, they usually don't go off. It's the Nets
was-
too. I was like really confused about that game too. I was like, what's going on with the Nets? The Cavs? What the fuck?
yeah.
I was just
the
saying, the way Knicks fans are, they would go off if they acquired Blake Griffin. Like,
Finally have a star in
or best star since Melo.
hear his knees creaking and walking through the parking lot on his way
What
to
do
the
they have
building.
right now? Obi Toppin, right? No
Yeah.
Toppin, Obi Toppin.
Yeah, and they have RJ Barrett.
And Julius Randle.
And what's Austin Rivers was the name of the guy. He's been playing really well lately. I don't know anything about him. I just have been seeing his name a lot. But Knicks fans are just funny to me because everyone knows the Knicks are a trash team
Yeah,
and a trash organization.
yeah. Imagine
And-
being a Knicks and a Jets fan. Must be almost as bad as being a Detroit fan.
And like, if you're like Mets, Islanders, Jets, and
Oh.
Knicks, yeah.
I've seen that on Twitter. Like how are you proud to wear that? That's wild.
It's Detroit would be worse still.
Yeah,
Lions, Tigers, Red Wings. Yeah,
exactly, Matt.
6-year max deal.
And a Kia. You're throwing a Kia.
Real quick note, not a sponsor, but I did watch the movie Soul lately, recently.
All right, guys, we got some lines, depressing facts. You guys ready?
Yes.
All right,
Here we go.
bring them on to us. You can go first, obviously, because it's going to
Okay, real quick. In the movie Soul, I watched it recently, and there's this one part where they show this person who's like, this character who's in the soul world, like taking souls, like messing with people's souls as they're doing things. It sounds weird, but it's funny. And in this one scene, she messes with someone's soul who's playing basketball, and she's like, I've been messing with this team for years. And then it zooms out and it shows a guy in the Knicks uniform going up for a dunk, and he just misses the hoop. It's hilarious.
Funny, I didn't hear about that.
It's a great story. You can end there. That's like all I need to do.
Doesn't he have more playoff? Doesn't he have more total points than a lot of? I don't know. That doesn't surprise me honestly that much.
He's a kicker though. That's why it's funny.
Yeah, I know.
That one's tough.
Oof.
Wow.
I would be interested to see what the Bears' record is on that too.
11-48.
Yeah, it feels like that'd be about right. Like just slightly better than the Lions. That's how the Bears have felt lately.
The difference is the Lions also lose to some bad teams. The Bears,
We
lose
get lucky.
teams and then beat a lot of the bad teams. It seems like.
Like we beat the Bucks, so theoretically, by transit property, we should be in the Super Bowl.
That
If we-
checks out to me.
Yep.
Raiders versus Bears.
I'd be down for that matchup.
2019 City of Detroit teams.
Oh,
That one's good.
Oh my god!
That's a good one. I hadn't heard that.
How many
I know-
California have?
had heard that 2019 I think is the most combined losses for our 4 teams in Detroit sports history. I think because the Tigers lost like 100 games,
and I feel like the Jets didn't even win like 2019, right? Was that the year too? Why not?
What?
2019 they didn't win. Was it the Dolphins? Was that the Dolphins 2019? The whole like 0-16.
No, that was.
I can't remember.
All right.
Yeah, the last 2019, I think they won like.
The Jets were 7-9 in 2019.
Oh
Wow.
shit! Never mind. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
The Lions were 3-12-1.
The
Wow.
tie. I remember that.
So that was that. The Tigers were this hurts. 47 and 114.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Wow.
That was a record for like I think
A
it's
292 winning percentage.
It was the most losses we've had since like I don't remember when, the 60s or something. It was like it might have been the worst record all time for the Tigers.
The Pistons were pretty typical for that era, 41-41, 8th seed.
Classic.
So you still had in that year you still had a playoff team, which is kind of funny.
It seems like it's so much longer ago that one of my teams has been in the playoffs, honestly.
And the Red Wings were 32-40-10. So
really
between
the Tigers.
the Tigers
sucked it
really
up for you guys, honestly.
well, and the Lions being 3-12-1.
But if the stat is just more losses, obviously baseball losses, just because you play so many more games, it's like inflated the number, But
I'm
New
so
York has
curious.
2 baseball teams, so that's crazy.
And 2 hockey teams, and
Yeah.
yeah.
You pile up more losses there, yeah. What?
Wow. Chicago Collegiate All-Stars. Lions.
I'd like to see it'll never happen, but a modern version of like a college team playing.
I know. It'd be so fun to
That's
see.
the dream, like Alabama versus like the Jets. Right?
Yeah. I mean, that would never happen, and it's always been debated, but it'd be interesting.
Only in Madden.
Yeah.
Well, not even Madden.
What?
Well, they had like those packs where you could like draft you have
all rookie team or something.
Yeah.
Huh.
So far what I'm seeing is that the Islanders and Rangers both had pretty good seasons in 2019.
And the Yankees, I'm sure, were good. So the teams that would give you a lot of losses didn't.
The Giants were 4-12. The Jets were 7-9.
Disagree.
What about the 116 Lions?
Maybe. No, I think
the Yankees were 103-59. So they were almost a flipped record from the Tigers. So
they're talking about 100 loss margin, Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
And the Mets.
We'll have one more last fact and wrap up, yeah?
Yeah, good idea. Mets are 86-76.
Huh. It's not bad.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the Mets are an interesting team. I was going to
now they are.
With Syndergaard and everything, and now they had a big offseason.
The Knicks were 17-65. So.
Oof.
Wow.
What's that?
They lost a total of 226 times in 2019.
Oh, for yeah. How many was baseball? 114.
Yeah, so that's half
of them.
Slightly more than half of those losses. Oh,
that's so brutal.
How tough it is, where every single team is rebuilding now. Yeah.
Well, that's how Chicago kind of feels right now. Kind of, I feel like a little bit.
Well, it's probably going to be worse now because back then the Pistons were a playoff team.
Yeah.
And the Pistons are even worse. The Pistons are the worst team in basketball. The Red Wings are going to be at least one of the worst teams in in hockey. Last year, the Tigers were the worst team, and then now Lions are one of the worst 5 to 10 teams. This year 2020 is going to be a rough year too. I bet
2021.
20 to 21. Yeah, I bet we'll have more combined losses in that stretch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Bold words.
Obviously, it depends
There's
a lot.
shortened seasons.
Oh, that's true. A worse winning percentage, I'd say.
Okay, so here's the deal. Matt Nagy, thank you so much for all those Lions facts. I really want to hear more, so I think you should come on the Super Bowl Shoot Your Shot Scorecast Spectacular Show, and you should tweet at us at SYSS Scorecast or at Furious George 94, at Michigan Hat, or at Richie Chicago, so we can get in touch about you coming on and spitting more facts at us. And
also,
go ahead.
Subscribe to us on YouTube since you are on YouTube. So subscribe to us and then hit us up. Yeah.
And then we'll even let you pick a game or pick something crazy. Okay. I think that'd be fun. Like you can have some guest picks in there. So let us know, add us on Twitter. You're just going to keep going anyway with your facts. We'll save some for next week. So to close us all out.
Thanks for that.
That's amazing.
Crazy. Awesome. You subbed. We have Bad Nagy subbed.
Nice.
Yes.
Legit.
Thank you for subscribing.
The official YouTube channel. Chicago Bears.
After we go on.
Right.
Awesome. You probably do because you're always on when we're on. So awesome.
All right.
Take us out.
I got you. This concludes the Shoot Your Shot Scorecast, an extra special long episode where we cover a lot of stuff, news, NFL, NBA, NHL, CBB, all that stuff. Remember to please subscribe so you never miss another pick. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Richie Chicago, at Furious George 94, and at Michigan Hat for all our dumb commentary on the games we are watching. With all the uncertainty in the world, one thing that is certain is our predictions. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time for more correct picks because #we won't be wrong.